All right, welcome back into Market Day Report. I am Scott Schulte, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Try not to beat you up with that all day today. And it was fun yesterday. We got on-air live hate mail. It was I had a lot of fun with it, and some good ones too, by the way. So we'll see if we can stir some of that rabbit's nest up a little bit more today. How about taking a look at these markets overnight? Let's start with corn. What did that do? Look at that. That's a holiday market if I've ever seen one. March sharply unchanged, 653.5. May only up a quarter, 654 even. The rest just a little bit down, bleeding a little bit by a quarter to 3/4 of a penny. Nothing going on there. Soybeans, what do we have happening in soybeans? Well, this was a lot of the same. Not a lot going on. Up 1 1/4 cents in Jan to 14.74 3/4, where March is 1 1/4 cents higher to 14.78 even. How about that? Wheat in Chicago, the Chicago wheat, all down about a penny to a penny and a half here. March off a penny to 7.56 1/4. May off a penny and a quarter to 7.64 3/4. These are all overnight markets, and these prices are brought to us by Bar Chart. If you look at hard red wheat in Kansas City, the HRW down in KC, that's off a little bit more. March off 2 1/4 cents to 8.58 1/4. May's down 1 3/4 cents to 8.51 even. Moving right along, as they say, or moving right along. That's not even a funny joke anymore. Spring wheat in Minneapolis. Let's see, 2 1/4 cents lower in the March, 9.16 is last, or the settle overnight. May's done at 9.12, 2 cents lower in the overnight trade. July was up though, well, that didn't even open, it looks like. So we'll stick with the 2 cents lower in March and May. Cotton, what did that do overnight? Well, it's down 89 points in that March contract to 80.14, and that gets us to our next guest analyst, the first one of the day. Kicking off with Brian Hoops from Midwest Market Solutions. Brian, thanks for being on this Friday morning. Thank you for being on. Are you on every morning at this time? Is it your slot?
Well, 3 days a week, three days out of the 5. So I don't know if it's my slot, but I enjoy kicking off the program or the early morning.
We love having you. Thank you very much. I just, every time I fill in, you're always the guy. So maybe everybody else is still asleep, but the early bird gets the worm, as they say. What are your thoughts here?
That's right. The grain markets, you've summed it up. There's nothing going on. It's holiday mode. Virtually no news out there. Continue to hear very good conditions in Brazil as far as growing and rainfall, but dry weather in Argentina is providing support to that market. So we're just going basically nowhere. Corn steady pretty much on the week. Soybeans up a little bit here. Just trying to find some of that news. And well, you probably know this better than I do. It's quad witching day, and that only occurs 4 times a year. Yep. And we're seeing a big sell-off in the stock market this morning. Crude oil down fairly hard, a couple dollars this morning. These outside markets could play a role in how the grains and livestock trade today, because there just isn't other fundamental news really for the traders to look at.
Yeah, the equities, that market's doing its best imitation of thank you, sir, may I have another, right? Because yesterday's was a decent down day. And we followed it up again with another 300 to 400 point sell-off here early on before we open up in about 11 minutes. And that really gets us back to that big economic question with demand and the Fed trying to slow things down. And when we got that retail sales number that came out yesterday, along with, say, a bad Philly Fed manufacturing number as well as a New York manufacturing number, it just looked like the economy was slowing down more than maybe the Fed had thought, and that's what the market's thinking. So we'll have to wait and see, but we're putting in a pretty expensive crop, right? And that's going to be a big deal for us to make sure the economy's okay.
Yeah, you talk with farmers, every day throughout the country, which is what we love to do. And, kind of the general consensus is they've got a lot of crops stored, hoping for, some sort of a spring, summer rally. And they're looking at next year's price is going to be very expensive and wanting that same type of rally to hedge into. They're not interested in selling $6 December corn when they're getting $7 for their crop right now, and they're putting a more expensive crop in the spring. It's just not a psychological proposition that they want to take on at this point in time. So it's going to be, I think, very important for marketing this year. But rallies at this point are going to be hard to come by if we get this big crop out of Brazil that the trade has kind of been banking in. But we've dialed in some of that already. We have a good window of exports here in the near term. The key will be what happens after the first year, and if we get these big crops that really start to undercut our U.S. prices.
All right, do us a favor, stay right there. We need to go away, pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Brian Hoops from Midwest Market Solutions right after these messages. All right, I'm not going to say it because we got on-air hate mail yesterday. I can't say my name too many times. It's boring, so I'm wearing a black and white jacket. You can guess what that is. All right, let's take a look at what the cattle did yesterday. This is yesterday's closes. D's live cattle in Chicago closed just down a little bit, 45 cents lower. This was also a holiday market all day yesterday. 154.05 was where we closed. And let's do Feb. 85 cents lower. Feb was at 154.85. Let's take a look at feeder cattle in Chicago yesterday. Let's say Jan market was down double nickels, 55 cents. 183.05. March is off 77 cents to 184.67. And we closed, where did we close the lean hogs yesterday? Well, we closed them in Chicago. That's the first part of that answer. Second part is Feb closed at 175 lower, $1.75 lower to 81.65. Let's bring back in Brian Hoops from Midwest Market Solution. Brian, anything you want to get off your chest when it comes to this fantastic meat market, proteins?
Well, I think we could follow the stock market a little bit on the opening this morning. Now, we're going to be open lower. Maybe we see some buying interest come back after that, what appears to be kind of a gap lower opening. We may see some buying interest come into the market at 8:30. And hopefully that is the case, maybe supports the cattle market a little bit. Cash coming in basically steady for the week, which might be a minor victory considering the Packers are cutting their kills back. And I think over the next 2 weeks, they will continue to cut those kills down just a little bit, trying to prop up their lost margins. And with the holidays, it makes sense that they would kill less and less during the week and give some employees some much needed time off. But right now, cash called steady for next week, which I think, again, probably going to be a minor victory considering Packers are cutting those skills a little bit or getting into that holiday mode.
I have to go through too many screens, so it's hard for me here, but I got to assume that you've seen a big drop off in volumes, right?
Yeah, things are really slowing down as far as interest in hedging or re-ownership of anything. So, yeah, volumes are really starting to slow, and you can see that on your screens as it doesn't take a lot of volume to move a market one way or the other. You've seen big jumps in different markets just because the volume in all these markets are starting to slow.
And that's something that you have to kind of bring up, because if you're going to get involved at this time of year, it's like trying to make a lot of money trading overnight. There's just nothing there, and you can end up getting yourself in a decent problem.
Exactly. Yeah, you really have to be careful. A lot of these professional traders will just kind of take the next several weeks off because it is the holiday mode, and just kind of wrap up their books early. So,
right.
Not everybody. We have a grain option expiration next week, but once you get past that time frame next week, it's going to be real slow going into the Christmas and New Year's holidays.
Oh, I'm sure we'll talk to you next week, so I appreciate that. Have a great weekend. It's going to be Brian Hoops coming to us, Midwest Market Solutions. We're going to bring it back to Nashville so I could say good morning to Janet.